Well, I know what you're thinking. All's well that ends well. They got a name for the winners in the world. I want a name when I lose. They call Alabama the Crimson Tide. Call me Deacon Blues. Steely Dan fans will understand.
There you go.
You know what's funny about this? 31-21, and I picked the final score to be 34-24, 10-point spread. But that was assuming that Tyrod Taylor would play. I don't think we'd have won the game if Tyrod Taylor played this game. I really don't. I mean, I'm just being honest. I'm not going to sit here and throw flowers at Jordan Elliott jumping off sides for no good reason in the end of a game. I mean, when he's an interior lineman, there's just no discipline on the defense whatsoever. Leaving a guy wide open on the final drive that would have led potentially to a touchdown and a 3-point deficit. Grabbing people by the face mask, and Malcolm Smith's supposed to be a veteran.
Disaster.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and I want to say to every single person who was here last week. So am I wrong? Am I wrong
No.
about the defensive coordinator? Am I wrong about this?
And again, I don't think it's the defensive players necessarily. I think it's just terrible scheme and terrible fit for these guys.
I don't know. All I know is this. You can't blame Baker this week, can you? Did you lose your whipping, boy? All you little pussy psycho pseudo fans, you little pussies. Gonna blame Baker now for this? I didn't think so. Cindy, you're right. We'll talk about that in just a minute because I got to add a couple of the guys to the stream. Ryan and Hammer Time, how you doing, gentlemen?
Finally breathing again.
I'm moving off of hanging Joe Woos from the upper deck to draw and quartering him in the muni lot.
I'll tell you honestly.
I don't think he wants to go.
And for the piece of shit that said, "Who hurt you?" You know what hurts me? Fucking losing!
Well, the thing is, preparation is so important. And I don't know how in the world you can come off that Kansas City game and say, okay, we're facing Tyrod Taylor. We're going to do the same thing all over again. I don't understand it. Very first play of the game, Tyrod Taylor stands in the pocket, throws right over the middle, and there's nobody around the guy. So help me God. It went downhill from there. And if we were playing anybody, we would have lost. And this team, give them credit. Give the Texans credit. They fought with what they had, and a lot of players of theirs went down and out of the game. They played physically and were carted off accordingly. I'm not taking anything away from the Houston Texans' effort. But
quick score update, by the way. Raiders just put it out of reach of the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, and
it was 23-16. The last.
Yeah, it's now 26-17.
We like that. Hi, Bronk. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I'd like to tell everybody that everything is fine and dandy. And look, the Bengals have lost, the Steelers have lost, so it's like, okay, I mean, we're tied for first, and ooh la wee, there goes Mr. Lee, and all that good stuff. I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy about that. But you can't be happy with the way this team played on defense. You cannot be happy with the game planning for this. And it was just an act of the gods.
Yeah, MCL sprain.
Tyrod Taylor gets hurt when there's nobody within 15 fucking yards of him on a soft tissue injury. It was an act of the gods that the Cleveland Browns were able to win this football game.
He hurt himself on that touchdown run and then made it worse on the scramble.
Well, you know what I can't understand is what in the hell Greg Gumbel and his partner are watching. Well, I didn't see anything happen. I mean, everybody saw when he went into the end zone, he went down on one knee. He wasn't fucking praying to the Lord.
They were terrible all game.
And he grimaced. And you could see him, and then after that throw where he went around wide on the outside, he threw going across his body, and he winced. He noticeably winced. I'll tell you something else. When Hance came in the game to play, the camera caught a clear picture of Jedrick Wills wincing in pain, playing on that bad ankle. So, I mean, they're not watching the game. You're not going to get any information from watching CBS or any of their announcers.
I mean, good for him for trying to tough it out, but you need a healthy guy in there, and you could see he was getting beat.
And not once did they talk about Jarvis Landry, his injury.
No, and what is the injury? Do we know?
So far, it looks like it's being reported as an MCL sprain.
4 to 6.
Something like that.
Hey, Brian or Derek, I know you know this. Who's 18 for the Steelers?
Deontay Johnson.
Okay, he's holding his knee. He just got tackled right at the end of the game here. And
you must be ahead of me because I'm seeing it now. Ooh.
Yeah, if you're on Dish or something or DirecTV, you're a little bit behind. But.
Thanks, I'm not a fun guy. I appreciate you, corroborating. An MCL sprain could be 6 to 8 weeks. 6 to 8. 4 to 6 if you're lucky. 6 to 8 if you're immortal. And if you're hurt as much as he's been hurt in his career, 6 to 8.
Lucky we got Davion Davis coming back. Hey.
It's and so much for the Anthony Schwartz is the guy.
No.
I mean, you can see that we're, here's what I want to say, because Cindy said something really very true. Demetric Felton turned this game around.
Absolutely.
That catch and run was spectacular. The spin cycle, man, that he put them through, and to maintain his balance after doing that, to break a leg tackle and get into the end zone was huge for this football team. Also a good return on a kickoff.
Yeah.
He's been
and on a punt.
Yeah. I mean, I think he did a wonderful job.
And with Landry and his potential injury being out for a while, he should be promoted to slot receiver.
Well, we don't know exactly what he's working at in practice, but and Felton just came up large. But the guy who comes up largest is Nick Chubb, over and over and over again.
What a beast! Oh my God! And having Hunt back there as well. That's the one thing that you really saw in that second half is, how running backs kind of get into a groove, right? And they go and they go and they go. And then you take Chubb out for a series and you bring in Hunt, who moves the ball, and then Chubb is like fresh as a daisy coming right back in there and just throws it right down their throat. I mean, and you were talking about Felton though. That one move in the right here in the fourth quarter, he made that one move. I'm just like, dude, go pick up your jock, because he faked that guy was grasping for freaking air over there.
I think that was Kirksey as well. If I'm not mistaken.
Gosh, that was a beautiful play.
Oh, and like I told Tony on Facebook, Myles Garrett finally hit the quarterback, but it happened to be Baker Mayfield on the fucking sideline.
Yeah, one thing at a time. We've spoken about Felton. Nick Chubb is the only, and if you follow my Twitter feed, he is the only running back that I have seen that reminds me of Jim Brown.
Oh, yeah, he's Jim fucking Brown all the way.
I mean, he's like a reborn Jim Brown. Same size and the same ability to hit the hole. And then once he gets through, he just runs through people. People are fearful of contact with this guy. He is one amazing running back. So,
and what makes him so different from so many running backs in the league, it doesn't matter if he's coming to the ground, he's still fighting for every inch. He's not an ego guy.
Covering up the ball, too,
Derek. His attitude is so calm. What it reminds me of, if you ever saw Jim Brown, and I know I'm dating myself, score a touchdown, he would just hand the ball to the official, because it's like, I'll be back. This is not something to celebrate. I'm going to be back in here again in no time.
That old phrase.
It's my job.
That old phrase, act like you've done it.
And so that's really the people who stood out in my mind are those people. Demetric Felton and Nick Chubb offensively,
And Baker?
And Baker played within himself and did what he needed to do, and they moved the line of scrimmage in the second half and were able to dominate the line of scrimmage with the running game, and that is huge. The defense wanted to give the game up and tried in every way that it could. And, the one time they call a blitz, Delpit smashes the quarterback. And did you see another secondary man in the backfield after that to rattle this guy? No.
No.
Hey,
That's, oh my gosh, was it good to see him on the field.
Yeah, can I take my victory lap here for a minute? I've been defending Delpit for how long? Everybody's saying cut him, get rid of him, cut him. About time. Finally, I see something and I can actually say, yeah, this is what I was talking about.
Well,
Look,
and Moo, you said
guys,
this.
Man, they all get injured, don't they?
But I would say
what
this.
Is the deal?
Moo, you said this, though. That Achilles injury, some guys will never recover from it. You've said that before. Yeah, and it's obviously it's the fact that it's a long, hard recovery. He's had a whole year. He's finally getting a chance to do it, and we see the reason why they drafted him where they did. So let's hope he can continue to grow.
Yeah, he's got more sacks than the defensive line.
It just shocks the hell out of me that you have a guy who is a young quarterback who's never played in the NFL, and you ran no blitz against him, nothing, and got no pressure
until the end.
Defensive ends, nothing.
Not until the very end.
Right. Well, I mean,
the sack was a blitz. The big sack and fumble was a blitz.
Of course, it was.
They said they were.
I think there was another one that was a blitz, but
they were also talking
other than
about
that.
On I had the radios tied up to the broadcast, so I had Jim Donovan and Doug Deacon. So the rest of you had to suffer with the shit that you had to listen to. So
yes,
it was beautiful thing. But they were talking about how they kept running out of linebackers. They had linebackers on the sideline that kept getting hurt. So and they were almost down to Elijah Lee. So that's where they were at that point.
Malcolm Smith was back on the field again at the end of the game.
Yeah, he did come in the end. But yeah.
And I'm just trying to look at who's on the field because the announcers aren't telling me jack shit. As I'm trying to survey the field to see what in the hell's going on. But the thing that amazes me is you would think that if you have a young guy rattled, that you would come after him, and instead they let him literally step up in the pocket. And I'll tell you one other thing before I get to you, Bronk. Cooks was wide open on the bomb. The kid just threw the ball in another zip code.
Just missed him.
Just missed him. Go ahead, Bronk.
I mean, like I said at halftime, we never really controlled the line of scrimmage on offense or defense. No. I mean, Chubb and Hunt got yards, but they were getting yards after they were getting hit behind the line or hit at the line of scrimmage, and they were breaking tackles. We did not have a good game at the line of scrimmage on either side of the ball. I really don't think so.
Well, and again, you can look at the stats in the game. All right. And, you look at Houston's rushing, 28 carries for 82 yards. That's it. And they needed their running game because of what happened to their quarterback.
But boy, didn't it feel like a lot more than that?
Well,
yeah, it was like 7 yards every time fucking Mark Ingram touched the ball.
Well, but here's it. How many did
2.9 yards per carry? It wasn't that. You know what it was?
Penalties.
It was when they would throw little short screen passes or out in the flats, and they would run through tackles and end up, I was just dying when their coach didn't go for 4th and 1. It was 3rd and 15.
That was amazing. That
3rd and 15, and we gave up 14 yards on a literally on a check down.
I can only imagine what the people are saying in Houston right now. They've got to be burning hot on that one.
Either you go for it on 4th down and take the play, you go for it on 4th down, or you take the fucking penalty. Why do you take the play and then punt? I've not seen anything that stupid since you fucking Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder who's calling the shots. I mean, it didn't make any sense to me. And seeing blown coverages when how do you blow a coverage in a prevent defense?
There is no coverage in a prevent defense.
That's just it. I mean, nobody covered the guy. They got like a 27-yard gain. with a little swing pass to a guy. Nobody even picked him up.
And going back to what you were saying about how great Chubb is and what an asset he is, and how he reminded you of former players. Did you guys see the stat about the fact that was the 8th game with Chubb scoring a touchdown, tying Leroy Kelly's record for the Browns? 8 consecutive games.
I mean,
talk about carrying a team on your back.
The thing that's amazing is Tyrod Taylor had 125 yards passing in the first half, and Davis Mills had 102. Does it tell you something? I mean, there's a problem, Houston. I mean, Baker was 19 of 21. He had that interception where Schwartz gave up on the ball, and he had an 105 rating, and Tyrod Taylor had an 144 rating while he was in the game.
And that play where Schwartz gave up on the ball, that was going to be, I mean, it's not like that was a Baker mistake. That was just Schwartz. I don't know what in the world he was thinking.
And again, you come into the game and you say to yourself, looking at the first week of the season when the Texans won and Brandon Cooks had 198 yards, I believe, of receptions, 10 catches. He got 9 catches today. They don't do anything to take anyone out of the game now, do they?
And Mo, you know what we said? We said last week, how can you not game plan against 2 people? Well, the Browns couldn't game plan against 1.
That's right. That's right. I mean, and it's really an unfortunate thing. Really unfortunate. As for Nick Chubb, 11 carries for 95 yards, just 8.6 yards a carry, another day's work done.
How many touchdowns did he end up with?
3.9.
One? Okay.
So, I'm looking at, the Browns ended up with 156 yards rushing, which is really close to the 153 they had in week 1. And they get stronger as the game goes on. In the second half, they seem to at least sit down on their run blocking, and their offensive line started asserting themselves, and it didn't hurt that guys were getting injured on the other side of the ball for the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we got all that stronger. I think Houston just wilted and ran out of players more so than us getting stronger. And the fact that Chubb is God, I think that has a lot to do with it.
Speaking of people wilting, and my wife brought this up while we were watching the game, how the hell does the Houston coach have a jacket on? And it's 90 fucking degrees.
Fucking degrees.
Like, what is wrong with? That's probably why he didn't take the penalty or go for it on 4th down, because he was undergoing heat stroke.
And then, what was the time he ran out in the field after that guy got injured? He was like yelling randomly.
I mean, that's like a Belichick summer camp thing. Put the trash bag on Belichick. What the fuck?
One of the Browns Twitter had an old school picture of him in a football uniform with his 1970s car wash afro.
It's hard to believe that Myles Garrett had 3 total tackles and none were solo, no sacks.
Well, and an offside. Don't forget the offside.
And he was like the Indians.
No, I thought it was 55 that had the offsides.
Oh, I don't know.
The perfect game against the Indians. They threw the perfect game against Myles Garrett, and he's still exhausted, breathing like a fucking asthmatic.
Damn.
I don't want to hear about him anymore. I don't want to hear about he's one of the greats and this and that. He's not. And talking about that, you know that J.J. Watt's out injured with a groin. They had to pull him out of the Pittsburgh game.
That's T.J. Watt, you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry, T.J. Watt. My bad. Yep. A groin.
Well, J.J. Watt may have hurt himself too, because they're already down 7-0 to the Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
quarterbacks are dropping like crazy.
Yeah,
well,
and and I'm not going to argue with Captain Fierce here. Felton making plays and Delpit, making a return, and that's the highlight. And I'd like to tell you that Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to continue his preseason success, but in the first 2 weeks, it sure as hell doesn't look that way. And there are a number of plays where Baker had plenty of time on bootlegs, and people were not open downfield.
I was just about to say,
be concerned about that.
That is a trend for the last 2 weeks now, is no separation with any of these wide receivers. Any of them.
that's why 13 makes such a huge difference out there. When you have somebody like Beckham who can stretch the field, and we just don't have that. I mean, maybe that's going to be Felton. I don't know, but the other guys are good route runners, whatever, but they don't do that stretching. And we thought Schwartz was going to be the guy. Who knows? Maybe he'll get over this.
Can we get Kadarius Hodge back if the Lions aren't going to play him?
I almost wonder if the Browns' passing game has become so predictable because everything's off of play action that teams are just simply dropping back and everything's covered.
Well, I mean, again, I don't see that when you're completing 90% of your passes. I really don't think that the scheme is a problem offensively. I think that when Landry's out of the game and he is your best route runner, and your top speed guy is a rookie who really has never, he's wet behind the ears, and your big speed guy's been injured and may never come back at the rate we're going. Who in the hell knows when OBJ says OBJ's ready to play, because the team said he was ready to play last week. Don't let them fool you. That was a game time decision made by OBJ. So is he going to come back next week? I can't answer that question. I don't know. But you're looking, when you're running 3 tight ends on the field, look, Harrison Bryant had a lot more opportunities to catch the football. But you look at why those tight ends, there were more of them on the field because we were short on wide receivers.
Yeah, they were running pretty much all 2 tight end sets.
Yeah, thank God it wasn't the Jets game when we had guys that they picked up the Sitco the week before. I mean, good God.
No, I'm not trying to be funny, Sean. The greatness is in the production. It's in the numbers. I mean, you can't play against the Texans and have 3 tackles that are all assisted tackles and no pressures, no nothing.
And the Texans' offensive line got hurt throughout that game. So there's no excuses. And by the way, that goes
breathing like you're just tired of the act, man. He's
and
not the real thing.
And
he's
goes
good.
for
he's good, but don't say that he's like the next curse. He's the next, whoever you want to mention.
Merlin Olsen.
No, I wouldn't say that.
But it goes for Clowney as well. None of these guys, McKinley, Clowney, Miles, no pass rush against a rookie quarterback and an injured line.
We suck in hot weather. I think we're a really poor hot weather team.
Well, no excuses.
And there are no excuses, and in the end, we're fortunate to get away with a win. And
hey, no matter how bad things were, it couldn't be any worse than starting Zach Wilson as your second quarterback in fantasy football. Oh my gosh. I made that mistake today.
But, and Cindy, I was sitting here saying it reminded me of the movie Rollerball. I don't know if you saw the original Rollerball, the movie in the early 70s with James Caan.
We have a Landry injury update.
Yes.
Okay, so this from Kevin Stefanski. Jarvis Landry has an MCL injury scheduled for an MRI this week. So...
All right. Well, an MCL injury is a tear, and if it was sufficient to take him out of the game, it is a grade 2, and if it is a grade 2, it is 6 to 8 weeks. All right. So we don't need to know anything more about that. But it reminded me about the movie Rollerball when they were literally taking bodies off the track on stretchers. And that's what it looked like. Every other play, somebody was just getting scraped off the ground. It's really gotten bad. Really, I mean, and it's noticeable, and you wonder if all of these injuries are a result, again, of a decreased number of plays, snaps, and contact practices. If and God only knows, with the one extra game, the 17 games this year, this is going to be COVID will be there, and the injuries will be there. Those will be primary factors in who plays and who wins. Yeah, Brock.
Does anybody else think like I do that Baker Mayfield got injured today?
I heard possible dislocated of his shoulder, his left shoulder.
His left shoulder, his left arm. He was not moving his left arm around at all.
Yeah, my thought is that he went back in there and they freaking popped his damn arm back into place, and he came back out and played.
And injected
Yeah, it's
him
a
with
low-
the numbing.
Yeah,
But he's going
It's
to
a
have
low
to
grade
play.
separation.
He's going to play, but he's going to have some kind of
Flak
mechanical.
Well, the good
something
news,
underneath.
the good news is, thank God it wasn't his throwing shoulder. It was his left one, which is we can live with. But for him to still run out and take that, risk of running into the end zone there, you talk about ballsy of a player. He put the team in front of himself, and you can't ask for more. That's leadership.
The reason I'm so angry at fans who blamed last week on Baker Mayfield. You don't know what
I don't want
the
to
fuck
hear
you're
about
talking
people
about.
complaining about Baker Mayfield ever again. I
Yeah,
really don't.
I'm sick of hearing the shit. And again, now we can sit back and take a look at the
Not bad
defensive
for a
presence.
quarterback you didn't want, huh, Bronk?
And
Yeah,
Moot, just to jump in here real
Yes.
quick, Baker Mayfield so far this season is 40 of 49 with an 81.6 completion percentage.
I mean, I don't know what you have to do in this fucking town, in Cleveland, to get on the good side. I'm only interested in productivity, and I don't want some hero quarterback. And that was the problem we were having with Baker, is when he would force things. You play within the scheme and the system, and you trust. If you have a good coach, you have good hands receivers, and you're not dropping passes. And you're scoring 30 plus points a week, which is what we were doing last year, you just leave it alone.
Oh, beautiful. Vikings just got tied up.
Who did?
DeAndre Hopkins just got a touchdown for the Cardinals.
Against whom? I'm sorry.
The Vikings.
The Vikings.
Oh, all right.
So say hello to Tony the Calf for me.
Oh God, poor Tony. He's gonna have a cow. Yeah, COVID's still taking a toll on Garrett. Is that the excuse they're using? No, it's just that what I would believe is that it's not taking a toll on him. I'd say that he's being double teamed and he's ineffective. Because nobody said that the offensive line of the Texans was good. I'm sorry.
No one has.
And when you need somebody, not their mouth, when you need their actions on the field, give me Nick Chubb and his silence and his power and his drive and his will. I don't want to hear it. I want to see it. So that's my take on Myles Garrett. I want to see it with my eyes. So I don't know. I'm back to looking at Steelers losing 26-17. They gave up a long pass to Ruggs. Steelers gave up a bomb. And that's
But that's the way
great
you're going to
seeing
have
those
to beat
teams
them. You're
lose.
going to have to make their defensive backs stop you. And if they can't, you're going to see this result all year long.
Well, and if TJ is seriously injured for the Steelers, that completely neutralizes their pass rush because they don't have. I mean, Melvin Ingram has been good for
Mr.
them.
Holdout.
Melvin Ingram has been good for them so far, but alone, it'd be just like having Clowney alone. It's the same thing. If you don't have another threat, it completely neutralizes it.
Yeah, and with a groin, that's a tricky injury because he could be back on the field in a week or two, or he could have a lingering problem if he just keeps redoing it if they rush him back. It's a problem. Any soft tissue injury is that way. And, Tyrod Taylor is going to discover that, the pain of and I'm going to say that the tear of the hamstring that Tyrod had is just a grade 1. But I've had a gazillion of those. And you know what you do? You rest it for a week and the pain goes away, but you don't come back to play on it until another week after that. So if you're the Texans fans, you're not going to see Tyrod Taylor on the field. And if you do, there's a great likelihood with his tendency to have to scramble out of the pocket that, whenever you reach your leg out and make a quick move, that hamstring is going to be extended. And
Wow.
you're going to repair that.
I'm just now seeing this. Grant Delpit on the day, 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a sack, and a forced fumble. What a pretty good debut that was.
Okay, so that was him diving in on Mark Ingram on the short yardage play.
You know, Roxanne does not want to watch the movie Rollerball. I mean,
the original Rollerball or the original Rollerball or the shitty remake of Rollerball?
No, the original. The shitty remake is not even in the cards. That wasn't even a movie as far as I'm concerned. But I urge people to watch that if you're football fans to see what the National Football League is regressing into as far as injuries are concerned. That's what brings that. And I'm just looking for other comments. Why is our offense always bailing out our defense? Because our coordinator has a bad scheme. And, you know, I'll say something to Derek, because Derek and I were tweeting back and forth during the game. We were talking about rollerball. No, we were. Sorry, I'm pissing Roxanne off. The play where, I could not believe that Greg Newsome had his back to the quarterback and mauled a receiver. When there was no separation, why would he do that? And I'm like, there ain't no number 1 pick in the country who has that technique. That's not. But then he did come back on the next time they threw a long ball, and he positioned himself correctly, and I felt better about that. So,
and one thing I said is a lot of times in college football, and I know if you're a college football fan, you'll agree with me. You see that all the time with DBs in college football. I don't know why, but they just do not want to turn their heads. And that's something I think it's a bad habit thing that he'll have to get through. But like I said, my thing is I would have patience with him because, the reality is Northwestern's not exactly a DB A+ school, you know? So, not that Greg Woods is going to be able to teach him anything because it's probably the opposite, but I would just have patience. I think I like him.
And Cindy, I'm not going to say anything about Greg Williams. He's a psychopath. But I understand what you're saying. The same thing could be said about Ryan. What was Buddy's brother?
Rex
Or
Ryan?
son. I'm sorry.
Son? He's got twin sons.
Yes.
Rob and Rex.
The one who was the defensive coordinator.
Well, the one with the hair.
They were both
Goldilocks.
defensive coordinators. Rob was
here.
the one in.
God's
Rob
next!
was the one in.
No, Rex Ryan was a head coach in the end. This guy never became a head coach. All he was a defensive coordinator. What was
Rob. Rob was in Cleveland.
Rob Ryan. Okay, thank you. Yeah. And he was too a psycho, and he would rush people at people and all that, but there was no method to that madness either. Go ahead.
With Baker, the only thing I've seen is that it's a sore shoulder. They haven't said anything serious, so. But they always lie, so we'll wait and see on that one.
Well, I think that you're not going to give any optimism to the Browns' next opponent. Quite honestly, they're.
You definitely don't want to make it a target.
Yeah.
If you announce it's a low grade separation, they're gonna fucking hit them every goddamn play, regardless.
And we play the Bears next, and if you think Khalil Mack's not going to be aiming for that shoulder, you're crazy.
And the other thing is, if you're looking at practice next week, you don't see Baker that much. There's going to be ways that you can tell what's going on. I would think that it's more likely that if it were a complete separation of the shoulder, that but not in the throwing arm, they're going to have him gutted out, but they're going to have to play more of a quick pass kind of offense like they did today. And
it's going to be just like when he broke his ribs against Pittsburgh.
Yes. And if the receivers don't get separation, he's got to hit them in the scheme, get them the ball before the defenders converge on the zone. I don't know. But that's the way, by the way a zone's supposed to look is the way that Houston was running. You notice that if Hooper caught the ball, there were 3 guys right there to hit him immediately.
Yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to look, folks.
And
I don't know what we're playing. I don't
that
know.
Well,
picture,
then on the outside sweeps, they had two linebackers and a defensive end out in front of the play to stuff it in the
And
first
Moo,
half.
that picture, I sent it on Snapchat and I didn't save it, so I don't have it. But I'm sure anybody can go back and rewatch that game and see how deep they had those guys playing.
Oh, it was ridiculous. You draft two of the best in college football man cover guys, and then you're going to play them 6 yards off the fucking receivers and give the receivers a free release.
And
Every
aggressive, hard-hitting coverage safeties. You got 3 of them out there, and you don't play them as they should be used.
And Greg, who's having microphone problems? I'm
You sound
confused.
fine.
Yeah, I'm confused. Yeah. So, look, a win's a win, and at the end of the day, we won by 10 points. They covered, so that got done, and we did not play a real great-looking game, and we're left with the same feeling that the defense just isn't really capable of holding anybody. Well, they're able to hold them, but they're just not able to stop them. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. So what do we? Who's our opponent next week, gentlemen?
The Bears.
And the Bears won today, did they not?
Yeah,
no.
they crushed
Or
it.
did they?
Yeah,
No, they
they
didn't.
crushed the fucking Cincinnati
Bengals.
Bengals. They got three interceptions against Burrow.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was like 20 to
Whoa.
3.
No, it's 20-17. That was the final score.
But
It was 20 to 3 going into the fourth.
Dalton is out.
No, it was
He
not.
did not return.
No, I know that's not true. Are you just looking for attention today? I was
I
looking
got
at
it.
the score.
No, I got it
No.
pulled up here. It was he's right, 20 to 3 heading no.
Then I'm
It was
wrong,
7 to
man.
3. It was 7 to 3 heading
For a long
into the fourth
time.
quarter. And then in the fourth quarter the Bengals got 14 and the Bears got 13. So it finished up with a 17-20 win for the
Okay,
Bears.
wait a minute here. Brian,
What?
hold on. Let me do this. Go ahead. Hold out your hoof.
Wow, Brian's
Kiss
right.
my, here, just kiss my mug.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was wrong.
Oh, that'll never
They were
happen again.
scrolling the scores on the bottom of the screen, so I was paying attention to that to avoid, barfing into my mouth because of Greg Gumball.
Look at
How about the
Peacock.
Saints
Can we
wait
give
week 1 to
can we
week
give
2?
him a forced retirement or something?
How much hair dye does the dude use, man? You tell that he pours that black shit on his hair, and then he's got those little gray bits on the side. That's always a dead giveaway.
But I mean, the fact that they held the Bengals to 3 points, I mean, if for that long, the Bears have a good
And
defense, I take it.
And Joe Burrow's not a slouch, and they picked off three passes. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, what
And
did
Justin
the Bengals
Fields-
discover that they suddenly got up 14 points in the fourth quarter, or did the Bears go soft at the end?
And we might be seeing Justin Fields next week because Andy Dalton got injured. So, and if you think Fields won't pick apart that zone, oh my god,
He left the game and did not return. And just think of what you think Tyrod Taylor can run the ball.
Oh my
Just-
god,
Justin Fields can make Tyrod Taylor look like
What
he's
happened
slow,
to Andy
so.
Dalton?
Supposedly a knee or something. So
Latest I saw was they thought it was an Achilles, but it wasn't. They said it's not. So
Oh my!
we'll see.
Ooh.
oh, it could be an ankle injury then.
could be, but he did leave the game and did not return. That's what
But I
they,
want to play him. I don't want to play Justin.
Oh, I'd
Fields.
much rather play the
Oh,
Red
yeah.
Rifle there than have to play Fields, who offers multiple dimensions there. So,
Even the bad Browns could beat Dalton on occasion.
Is the game in Cleveland or Chicago?
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
All right, so
We get 2 home games in a row.
But I mean, if you can't get any pass rush against Tyrod Taylor or Davis Mills, and you can't cover no
Yeah.
receivers against the Texans. Justin Fields is going to have a career year or a career day next week. And
Well,
that's not
since
me
his-
being a
since his-
Buckeye fan. You know that.
Well, Derek, since his career is only 3 games, I suppose
Well,
anything would be a career game.
That's not what I mean.
Let's get technical about
Look
this.
at this comment on the screen. Look at this. The D did fine. You know, it's again, it's going to be one of
They
these
made
things.
Tyrod Taylor look good. We've seen him in real person. He's not good.
The thing is, he must be a young fellow who's got strong knees because he's going to have to go down there and blow me.
But I mean, they covered the over. I think the over was 48, so they did cover the over. So that part was correct. But it was just nuts. Oh my God! I don't know.
What are you oh my godding about?
ESPN2 has some kind of a thing, the Ocho, and it's called the Death Diving Championships. And they have some little kid who looks like he's 10 and he's going to jump off of a tower into the water. I'm like, what are we watching?
But the way you said, "Oh my God," I thought you'd seen two girls, one cup for the
belly
first time.
flop, back flop. Oh my God!
Hey.
I thought you were talking about the Cowboys game because Stephon Diggs' brother just picked off Herbert.
Well, I did have that on, and then I switched over to watch Ohio State women's volleyball keep their unbeaten streak alive. But then it was on ESPN2. I'm just like, this kid he can't be more than 10, and he just took he purposely did this and just took a tumble off this tower and landed on his side I'm like, all I know is that there's body parts of me that are hurting just watching this poor kid.
Speaking of Ohio State, I can confirm C.J. Stroud does indeed suck as bad as he looks.
Oh, God.
That was really.
Yeah. It's going to be a long year. We're going to get.
It took everything in me not to just go over to the edge and just jump straight down. That was the worst Ohio State.
Going to do to Ohio State?
Don't get upset
if they play like that.
That's my advice.
Oh my gosh!
You know what Iowa's going to do to them?
And you know what the saddest thing is? I'm sitting there watching number 3, a 17-year-old Quinn Ewers sitting on the sideline, millionaire. And he's just, throwing passes on the sideline. And even just, it was so embarrassing because I swear to you, every quarterback Ohio State had, even in just warm-ups and stuff, looked head and shoulders above him. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Vikings, and Kirk Cousins is 6 out of 7 with 2 touchdowns. And Dalvin Cook is averaging 10 yards a touch against your Cardinals. What's going on, Brian?
Well, they suck. There's really no defensive cohesion on that team. I don't know how they pulled off a 38-7 win last week.
Well, just wait till the Browns play the Cardinals.
Nobody fucking showed up on the Tennessee side. They must have all gotten the John Rich fucking specials.
Okay.
So is there going to be a Peter Ellis play this week?
A Peter Ellis play of the game. Let's make it. I'm getting a request here from a friend. We'll bring him out here.
Oh, the white marshmallow.
The white marshmallow of hope. So he wants Peter Ellis from the dead.
In heaven.
Oh, such a fantastic moment for the young Delpit. He comes into the game and he let him run a straight line to the quarterback. The only time the defensive coordinator allowed such a move to occur. Oh, Joe Woods. You know, the Blue Bayou was the explanation as far as Delpit getting around his man. But blown by you is how fans feel about you, Joe. Oh.
Dak Prescott just threw the worst interception I've ever seen in my life.
Bad.
What was?
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, he just threw an interception into double or triple coverage. Triple cover. Oh,
at least 3 guys, maybe 4 guys. I don't know.
Oh my
It was
God.
bad.
Well,
It was the rookie, though.
Isn't it?
Oh, here we go.
It's, what's his
Watch the
name?
replay.
Asante Samuel. First pick of the year, probably.
Who?
Oh my gosh, Dad!
Now you're watching Two Girls, One Cup.
Oh my god!
Oh my
By the way,
God.
thank you to Cooper Cup for the 32 points in fantasy football.
Yeah, thank you, Dak Prescott, for being my starting quarterback in fantasy football.
Well, that's your fucking fault, man.
He was
Don't
great
blame
last
him.
week.
Oh, don't.
Yeah,
chase
so is
points.
Tom Brady.
Never
Hey,
chase
you want to hear
points,
something
Derek.
really funny? I mean, let's put ourselves in the bodies of other fans, okay? Besides,
Oh, God.
being Cleveland fans and all and being disappointed by our defense, happy with the outcome, not happy with the way we got it. The people in New Orleans were saying, hey, Jameis Winston's the real deal. Going, I mean,
Yeah, he's still the same guy that'll throw 35 fucking interceptions.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, and what can you say? New Orleans was the team that crushed Green Bay. Is that correct?
Oh my god, it was terrible. 3
Yeah.
points, 3 fantasy points out of fucking Aaron, the
Rodgers.
Antichrist fucking Rodgers.
Rodgers.
Oh,
Man.
Rodgers! Yeah,
posted a video of Baker petting our dog. What's his name? I can't remember.
That's just to me unbelievable. I mean, you lose like that.
Oh.
26-7 of the Panthers. Sam Darnold, his forehead is getting bigger.
Well, now he's got Christian McCaffrey, so there's that. He actually has one offensive player.
Oh,
Yeah. Just and the Rams beating the Colts. The Colts have lost their first 2 this year. Is that right?
Carson Wentz went out with an injury. Jacob Eason came in.
Oh
I mean,
boy,
So what happened?
Tony
what happened to
Eason's
him?
fucking nephew.
What happened to Wentz?
Who cares? He's always fucking
know.
injured.
I think it's a
Yeah,
knee
they're-
again.
Yeah, they were talking about
Knee,
the
ankle, butt.
multiple quarterbacks.
He hurt his butt again. Listening to
Got
the
a-
criticisms, he's hurt his
got a
butt
toe
again.
injury.
And let's hear it for.
Oh,
Wait
now
a
he's
sec,
got turf toe? Oh.
I
We're
don't
going to
know.
get Ed Sullivan from the dead now. Now you know, right here in our show. Trevor Lawrence. Let's really hear it. 14 of 33 for 118 yards, an average of 3.6 yards completion, 2 interceptions, and a 37 rating.
Better than Zach Wilson.
And you know, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, but Zach Wilson was not on the same level as Trevor
I'm just
Lawrence.
saying
But
for my fantasy
you take
sucking.
a look though. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater was 26 of 34 in that
He
game
was.
for Denver for 328 yards and 125 rating. Jacksonville doesn't have an offensive line. They don't have a running game. They don't have a defense, and they don't have a head coach. They don't have anything.
who was the idiots that said Jacksonville were going to have a good year? Was that ESPN or somebody? Some idiot.
Yeah.
You know, that was what they ran all of
The
these
simulations.
Simulators, yeah.
They're going
They're not gonna win a
We'll be
game.
4-0. It's just unbelievable.
I think they mistaken Urban Meyer with Bill Belichick when they did that
Urban
simulation.
Meyer, his head's going to explode out this side at some point.
Well, there was-
Tagovailoa is
He's
hurt.
dead. He's dead.
He's dead. Is right.
He is dead.
I remember there was
Francisco Franco is dead.
And Miami had to play with
Still.
Jacoby Brissett.
Still.
So that was why 35-0. 35-0. And you want to know what's amazing about 35-0?
What's amazing about 35-0?
That Josh
Tell us
Allen
what's
was only
amazing.
17 of 33. That's 50%. And again, I'm pointing out to you that he can't sustain 70% completions. For 179 yards and a 5.4 yard average, he was sacked once. He had a 75 rating, and they still won 35-0.
You are definitely riffing on Josh
You
Allen
were-
being shit this year. We were all over that.
You know what, though? That was part of the whole thing when we drafted. When Mayfield got drafted, and everybody's going, well, Allen's got, he's a bigger guy, big arm, blah, 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 all this stuff. Baker's going to have trouble seeing over the line, all these things like that. And the one thing that kept being brought up about Allen was the fact that he was not that accurate. And that's a thing.
Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
And that's a stat that carries over. You never get more accurate. You might gain a couple of points here and there, but you don't gain 20 points or whatever. And Mayfield has always been rather accurate, whether it's on the move or whatever the case is, But
you have to be in the NFL.
Yeah, you can't afford to throw 56% because you know what you are after that? You're unemployed or working at the Citgo.
Coverages get tighter in the NFL unless you play the Browns. But everything gets tighter. You got to throw in them tight windows, which Baker's done his whole career.
But I'm looking
Oh
at this
my God,
game,
man,
and I'm wondering. I
right.
didn't watch any of the Miami Dolphins play, but I mean, 35-0, and Buffalo rushed for 143 yards, which is good, but not like incomparable. And the quarterback only completed an average of 5.4 yards per pass, and he only completed half of his passes and only had a 75 rating. How did it get to be 35-0?
Kirk Cousins just ran up the middle for 29 yards.
Yeah, he was like Chad fucking Henry out there, man. He was
We have a confirmation on Baker. His left shoulder popped in and out, so it was a dislocation.
Yeah.
Who's saying
They
that
just
Say what?
Source that for me. Who's saying that?
It was from Baker's mouth, but Daryl is a Reuter
Dale
is the
Ritter.
one who I'm getting it from.
Right.
So-
Well, I mean, just not good at all. As we get, and again, when the running game isn't working, and I will say it again, it wasn't the Browns. Don't say it was Kevin Stefanski's play calling, all you dickwads who always seem to want to go in that direction. The run was being stopped in the beginning of the game. They were stacking the line of scrimmage, and they were daring us to pass. And when we passed, we were completing everything we threw. But it made and exposed him to pass rush. And Conklin is not himself. He's hurt, and he doesn't look like the same player this year. And Wills, we know, was not himself. And, Baker got whacked. And, you're only one play away, from your second string quarterback. And I will say again to the Ravens fans, you are one play away from losing Lamar Jackson for the season. You take nothing for granted in this football game because...
and they're playing, and of course they're playing their kryptonite, so...
Yeah, well, the reason you run a tight scheme where Baker throws to guys over the middle and uses the middle of the field, and then has the dump offs and all of that good stuff, and you get yardage on a little dinky screen, a middle screen that Felton turns into a touchdown. You're trying to keep the pass rush off him, and they're trying to tell him, don't stand back there like you used to do. And he averages the longest amount of time available to throw. You gotta, if it's not there, get rid of it. If it's not there, run out of bounds. But first and foremost, get rid of the ball, throw it out of bounds. And when you're stuck back there and nobody's open, you're gonna get waxed. And that's what happened. And I hope that he's all right because we can't win without him.
Hey, Greg Joseph is still missing point after attack.
You have to finish the sentence before you start laughing. What are you talking about?
Greg Joseph just missed a PAT for Minnesota.
Wow.
He's still missing kicks.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's a drunken sailor.
Who do we want to win against the Ravens and the Chiefs? Who do we actually want to win that game?
I want the Chiefs to win.
We need the divisional win.
Let's win the division. That's it. Let's stay. Let's win that division.
Sorry, Joe. We're rooting against your team.
When Cullen calls the play, it's like, we're going to go for the 3 here at the end, and we're going to do the onside kick. And your kicker comes out and hooks the thing 40 yards out. It's like, no. It's like,
thank you, Dad.
Yeah, there are a lot of gifts. We got some gifts.
Hey, the Vikings are kicking ass today. 21-7.
Well, there you have it.
20-7.
Cowboys in the red zone. Come on, Dak.
Yeah, it was a 14-yard TD
touchdown
pass.
Zeke. Touchdown
Whoop.
Zeke.
There you go.
Well, I mean, San Juan Creole, you're still talking about this?
That was last
A
year.
wild incomplete pass. How in the world can you say that is wild when he's getting hit from behind, just like you probably do every night? And it just, I don't get how people, I don't get that. How is that Baker's fault? You can't explain that to me.
Hey, how did Farrell Brown do today?
All right. Well, I think I've run my course in saying what I think. And look, I'm happy the Browns won. We're 1-1. We're tied for the top. That's great. I think that some of the teams that we're playing, I don't know what exactly. Before I get out of here, I do want to look at the Pittsburgh box score to see. Roethlisberger was 27 of 40, 7.4 yards per completion, 295 yards through a pick, through a touchdown, 87 rating. But Derek Carr picked them apart, 28 of 37 for 382 yards and a 126 rating. I mean, my goodness.
No pass rush. No pass rush. You can sit back there all day.
Yep, and the other thing is Las Vegas's rushing game, they only rush for 52 yards, and the Steelers will stop the run. And this is, you're going to have to put the ball up in the air to beat this team because they're really disciplined against the run.
And you have to challenge the safeties.
I thought Jacobs was questionable before the game or whatever.
He was inactive, actually.
No, they ruled him out. They ruled him out.
So, I mean, I think he's a difference maker. He's right on that next level of with Chubb and those guys. I mean, he makes a difference in a game. So
he reminds me of the other Alabama running back, Alexander for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah,
the same kind of build.
Pittsburgh's rushing game, only 39 yards of rushing for the Steelers. And you know that when Ben throws the ball 40 times, the Steelers lose. You know that.
Well, and the big play from the running backs was that Najee Harris catch and run.
Yep.
Yeah, but he couldn't run from scrimmage, 3.8 yards per carry, 10 carries for 38 yards. That's it. So, again,
Ken Worley, come on down.
Look, Carly Murray.
Yeah. So at any rate, be happy, Browns fans. I'm happy we won, but again, my feeling is that I don't think you're going to beat good teams playing like this. We've just, and I hate to say we just got to get better, but yeah, that's it. We just got to get better.
We got to get a better defensive coordinator. That's what the fucking is.
And that's part of getting better, I have a feeling, and that will be addressed probably next year. But we have to sit through this.
Do we have anybody on the defensive staff that could potentially take over off the top of your head? Do you know any names?
I really do not.
See, that's the only bad thing here is I don't think we have anybody who could step in.
Wow.
No. So at any rate, let's get out of here. I thank everybody for supporting the program, and let's be happy that the Browns won. We're 1-1. Let's get ready for Chicago. Let's heal our wounds as much as we can and hope for the best as we play Chicago next week. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back again tomorrow, Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the less emotional, more analytical Moohead Radio follow-up to today's football game. Once again, the final score, the Browns 31, the Texans 21, and we hope you have a pleasant rest of your Sunday and enjoy your work week, and I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, hasta la vista.
See you tomorrow, Key.
Good night.